Yeah, good morning. My name is Chima Peterside. I'm the anchor for the Young Leaders Summit 2020, and I welcome you all to the Young Leaders Summit 2020. And our theme for the year on this conference is Adaptation to Global Paradigm Shifts. And it's becoming increasingly clear by the way this conference has come via Zoom that there's indeed a shift in all that the world is doing and the way information is passed right now. And I want this opportunity to welcome everyone who has logged on, who has waited for us to begin, and for all those who are eventually going to join. We guarantee that we're going to have a good time of learning, of eye-opening situations, and then great information that will help to move us forward. And this also coming at the back of all that's happening in Nigeria right now with the NSAS protests and all. So many voices trying to be heard, those for, those against. But beyond that, for the Young Leaders Conference, we're looking how do we adapt to the global paradigm shift. And we're going to take a lot of people who will be speaking this morning. Dr. Tony Agbons, who is a researcher academic with over 18 years working experience, who is also a senior consultant and deputy head of faculty at the Mayfair UK Limited. He has a huge industrial experience working in the Nigerian pharmaceutical industry. He's a graduate of University of Benin, Nigeria, and Dr. Agbons holds a postgraduate diploma in business management and MBA from Cardiff Metropolitan University. He also obtained a postgraduate certificate in education from the University of Greenwich, London, and a PhD in marketing from Angela Ruskin University in the Cambridge, United Kingdom. He's an elder in the Baptist Church. He's happily married. We're also having Dr. Vera James, who is a leading global consultant, speaker with expert insight on educational and organizational strategies. She holds a PhD in educational management and a Master's of Education Management, both from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and a Bachelor of Education degree in mathematics from the Ambrose Ali University, Edo State. She is the principal consultant of Vera James GC Limited, a foremost educational consultancy organization focused on raising successful, excellence-driven individuals within the family, education, and national global systems. All these people have mentioned and many more. Dr. Martin Zatonda would also be speaking. I'll be reading his profile in time to come, and then we will all work together to find our way forward. Idehai Benito Esarawa was also born in Benin. He's also going to be singing the national anthem minutes from now. And I want us to look at the overview of what we have. We're going to look at national anthem, the program, look at education, spoken words, adaptation, global paradigm shifts, which will be anchored by one of our main speakers, Dr. Martins Atonda. And we'll look at gender-based issues as well and marginalization. We'll have Mrs. Naomi Waziri and Dr. Gloria Okolocha will also be looking at all that, look at religious perspectives. We'll be speaking with Dr. Ben Musa and Malam Taufik. All these people are going to be speaking and they are part of the event today. And we're looking at the civil society and current trends. When we look at current trends, we know what's going on in the country. But beyond what's going on right now, we're looking at the future and where young leaders can fall in. We know there is a dearth of young leaders. People complain that there are too many old people ruling, but the young people, are they also prepared? That's why we're here to look at the civil society and current trends. And we'll expect and trust that this conference today will be an eye-opener to great things to come. There's a paradigm shift indeed. It's global, it's not localized. And like we always say that Nigeria and where you are has become a global, the world itself has become a global village. So we're going to look at various issues from all perspectives to have a balanced view, and then from there we'll move. I want to welcome Dari. His program, he gives us a program objective so that we can run together with specific minds and intentions. But before Dari David comes, we'll take the national drum engineer Idehai, who's the CEO of Jade Music, and is going to move us forward from that point. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can we hear me? Can we see me? I am on. Hello.
Hello, we can see you, sir.
If you are with me, can you?
We can see you, sir. We can hear you.
Can we place our right hands on our chest as we sing the national anthem? Can we place our hands on our chest as we sing the national anthem? Thank you. Compatriots, Nigeria's call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. God bless Nigeria. Good morning once again.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Daria Lalu David. I'm the Program Officer of Young and Youthful Generation Initiative. This morning, I will be taking us through the objective of our gathering this morning. Number one objective is to sensitize young leaders on the need to arise to take leadership positions amidst the global pandemic, the uproar, and the inconsistent status quo. Secondly, mobilize young leaders on global new standards of operation. Thirdly, to create awareness among young leaders on the values of female gender in national development and transformation. To understand the place of creative capability in leadership process. And lastly, to arise and save this dying nation, Nigeria. For as many of us who will follow us keenly this morning, and as our leaders will be unveiling to us different perspective and different opinion, remain blessed.
All right, you're all welcome this morning. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are. I'm sure you're hearing us clearly, live and direct from Sokoto, Northwest Nigeria. Idai Edison is my name, Executive Director, Young and Useful Generations Initiative. You've heard from our program officer. The main objective of today's event is more sensitization and putting everybody on the front burner of current trends, of how things are done globally. Added to that, I just need to inform us and give us a little brief about adaptation for global paradigm shift. But before I go on, I want to specially welcome Abdul Ganiyu, the Executive Director of Save the Child Initiative. Congratulations on your new appointment as the National President of Child Protection Network. And also especially our father, our mentor, Dr. Martin Satanda, a global personified trainer and UN specialist. All right, it's no news that the world is in a fix right now, and across the whole human endeavor, it's finding its best way to swim out of the current waters of COVID-19. But more worrisome is the issue of the fact that many are getting into the tonic of how to solve the entire problem. So it's a difficult situation that we have all find ourselves. I want to let us know that leadership, which is our central focus, is not an issue of position. Neither is it an issue of the office you occupied. Leadership is a process, is an action of bringing about change that impacts on the life of the people. I'm quoting Dr. Martin Satanda now. And if your leadership style is not bringing positive impact on the people, then it's questionable. It's actually not a leadership style. The 21st century leadership is ICT driven and it's young generation centered. That's what we want to let everybody know. And the entire world is crazy about ICT now. And we cannot be left behind. Nigeria is stagnated. We've been there over the years. Things seems not to be moving. The last 2 decades has eventfully seen and witnessed a massive invasion in the build-up of information and communication technology. And that drives the ICT tech. You've heard so much about artificial intelligence, which is the crave of the world as of the moment. Many explorations in the outer space and the continuous improvement of the human scientific evolution is centered on ICT. And that's what we want to put to the front burner today to make a lot of people understand that there's a lot that we can achieve. When you talk about new generation, leaders that are ICT inclined, leaders that are young in age that are coming to global relevance. Talk about Emmanuel Macron of France, the French president. He's just 42 years old right now. He came in at a very young age, under 30 or late 30s. You've heard about the youngest minister in Africa right now, if not in the world, the 19 years old ICT minister, Patrick Nkurunziza of Rwanda. You've heard so much about such people. So many believe that COVID-19 pandemic came to speed up the evolution of the new normal in human capacity development. Do you believe that? Is that your take? Time would tell us more. But in reality, the world is just transiting into a new phase of global information and communication technology. And Nigeria tends to be stagnant when it comes to issues like this. Nations have gone far. Nations have doing a whole lot. Education, shelter, healthcare, water, electricity, security, and so much is being done with ease with the use of ICT technology. The role of education cannot be overemphasized if we must be able to drive far our developmental stride and be able to do a lot and bring improvement to a lot of our people. The inability of our leaders to come up with effective virtual learning system, it was so painful that while all other people all over the world were using ICT, were using a Zoom to put their children on the front burner educational wise, we were at the background, and that wasn't quite okay for us. And it is said over and over that the blame game is a drawback game. We cannot continue like that. There needs to be a change. That's what we are trying to do today, to put every young leader into the mainstream of understanding that with ICT we can do a whole lot. Nigeria, if we truly believe that education is fresh for young and adventurous mind in a nation like Nigeria, it is important for us to change our modus operandi and follow the Lactin Mazin, mens sano in corpora sano, which means that there is no substitute for hard work. If we are not ready to put in a lot to educate our young mind, then we are not ready to go ahead and raise leaders for the next generation. The hard work is a collective education for our would-be leaders of tomorrow. You can see the End SARS protest going on right now. You can see that a whole lot is being done using ICT. As an organization, Young and Useful Generations Initiative, we have always believed that our little but consistent contribution to the positive development of young minds and aspiring leaders will go a long way to make sense in our environment. It takes up leadership role to help to transform their communities and particularly the nation at large. This has become very, very, very important, especially as we are driving towards 2023 major presidential and general election. We want to hope that the use of ICT and artificial intelligence and as a new way of life, there's going to be an infusion into so many things that we are going to do. The change that we are looking at is that the change that promotes constant in global standard and a paradigm shift that is a new trend. I welcome every one of you to a fruitful dialogue in this session of adaptation to global paradigm shift. Once again, my name is Idaye Edison, Edokpagbe, Young and Useful Executive Director. Thank you very much. You're all welcome.
I need to meet them Vera. If Dr. Vera is ready, I can't find them. All right, good. Yeah, at this point, we want to look at education because it's education is very key, and we're looking at different aspects of it because right now, as we're still on strike, the government is negotiating their pay. NYC camps have been reopened. Secondary schools, primary schools have all been reopened. So there's a lot that is wrong with our system, and there's a lot that is good that needs to be improved upon. And then we have Dr. Agbons and Dr. Vera James. I don't know if you are ready, so we can take you now. Dr. Tony? Dr. Tony, can you hear me? Okay, Dr. Tony is not ready. So probably I'll just take the spoken word and then we'll make progress while we try to reconnect with Dr. Tony and Dr. Vera J. Please stay tuned as we continue. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
hidden hacking matter. She wept and sobbed in this despair, a silent voice of drained life and tears of woe, faces of illusion, battered inedible marks of cruelty. It's everywhere, negating religious, ethnic, and regional bound lines. A game of distraught and failed dreams, moments of love, but a time of pity and hatred. Careers of incubator for progeny's destiny, product of hasty love. Unknown to many, it's a journey of no return. An evil that has been encoded in cultural values, a norm that has incapacitated mothers in grave silence, dying in discomfort, slain in banishment to the truth they uphold. It's a cry that seems too loud, but no one is hearing.
Emotional, psychological, and sexual violence. Loved and married as rosy damsels, neglected at downtrodden moments, left alone in the ocean of disbelief, submerged in deep hatred of life, faced with cruel traditions that stripped them of their pride and mourning their heartstrap. How long can we continue, like in limbo never ending, given a signet of honor in childbearing, pushed to the real in national pride? For how long will this be? This backstabbing of womanhood, where then is equality of human race, even though some are equal than others. Atabamun inajin hakani mata. Restoration of our mothers begins now. Ever surging a bright future is a seed to be sown now. Sowing to educator a girl child, reaping a nation of worthy developments. The damsel of today must ride on the horse of worth, of self-worth. Her beauty of the mind reflects how she is seen. Dignity must be her watchword. Only this can violence against her be eroded.
Nigeria, arise. Nigeria, arise. You have stayed long enough in waste and pity. It's time to arise. The voice of the Most High God is calling you out of the ocean of retrogression. Who would have believed our story in pitiable parts? That we were once endowed with so much to admiration of all, swimming in flowing wealth with scarce needs to meet. Life was so easy and sweet. Then we slept into life of reckless frivolities with no thought of the future yet unknown. Oh, Nigeria. Such was life of elegance, like a peacock in her splendor, fading so fast in the full glare of all, painfully. No attempt to salvage, no thanks to scavengers from across the Mediterranean Sea. They came with soft tune to help, but were fully armed to plunder, draining the breast milk of our sweet mother nation. She has been smuggled in her prime of beauty. With connivance of her wayward seeds, they accepted to sell her treasures that make distinct their home for a piece of jewel made from even their stripped lands. Shameless gluttons who rises to eat the bread of sorrows. Nigeria, never minding the status of beggars, only just to have one meal per time. They wrecked her beauty, mixed her to dryness. Lord, is this truly Nigeria, looking shapeless as her ebony complex fast depletes, the contour lines masking her face, depicting many years of betrayal and stripped beauty? Oh, she was once a standard bearer of hope to many nations in her stead, now a dependent of succor from anywhere. Ah, arise, O great land. What a pity, a beauty so promising, raped in her glory and her dignity defied. Her children have become orphans to many nations she once ignored. They raced to the land of the Portuguese for dry green pastures. Her seeds now bear the emblem of beggars,
In places she once held the stake, among her very own, many sold each other to gain fame as the world watched in mockery. Nigeria, this is not a story to tell the next generation, but when will your rising come? The golden nation of the tropical land. You were small gold in the prime of your beauty, but the Lord of hosts will rescue you. Oh, mighty nation of the dark continent, who has covered your glory, the shining star that beats the clouds to make progress, the trigger set aforetime to fire her continent to excellence. Nigeria, you were once the house of refuge to all in needs, the land whose forest hills kisses the cloud in glory, the assorted food basket of the savannah. Your pastures satisfies the saga and hunger. Oh, adorning floras of the Sahel landscape, awake, O sleeping giant of the rainforests, the healing tree in the dying land that never decays. It's time to arise, Nigeria. Creations await your glory in rising. Nigeria, arise. For the healing of nations is in your seed of hope. Nigeria, arise. To fulfill heaven's order of restoration. Nigeria, arise. 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 Happy independence.
Yeah, hello, you welcome back from that wonderful presentation by Mr. Idai. And right now we're going into straight right into the educational segment. And like I said earlier, I have two wonderful people, two very qualified people, two very experienced people. Dr. Tony Agbons, who is a researcher and academic with over an 18-year working experience, over 18 years. He's a senior consultant and deputy head of faculty at the Mayfair UK Limited. He has a huge industrial experience working in the Nigerian pharmaceutical industry. He's a graduate of the University of Benin, Uniben, in Nigeria. Dr. Agbons holds a postgraduate diploma in business management, an MBA from Cardiff Metropolitan University. He also obtained a postgraduate certificate in education from the University of Greenwich, London, and a PhD in marketing from Angela Ruskin University, Cambridge, United Kingdom. He's an elder in the Baptist Church and he's happily married. I have Vera James. Dr. Vera James is a leading global consultant. She's a speaker with expert insight on educational and organizational strategies. She holds a PhD in educational management and a master's of education degree in management, both from the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and a Bachelor of Education degree in mathematics from Ambrose Ali University, Edo State, also in Nigeria. Vera James is the principal consultant of Vera James GC Limited, a foremost education consultancy organization focused on raising successful, excellence-driven individuals within the family, educational, national, and global systems. At this point, I will make way for Dr. Agbons to set the pace for the education, and then we expect to hear from both of them. Dr. Agbons, you're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, our host, Mr. Peter Side. Good to see everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here. I wish to welcome everyone watching and listening this morning. Big welcome to all participants of this 2020 Leadership Summit of the Dynamic Young and Useful Generation Initiative, YUGI. It's indeed my pleasure to be here. Dr. Vera James, you are welcome. It's always good to have a professional colleague in the house. It gives you that bounce and the zip to know that somebody is there to give you some good feedback. You are welcome, madam. Like we all know, the theme for this summit is adaptation to global paradigm shift. This is it's quite a big topic, and academics like us, I'm sure we can write over 60 papers on this. But in this stream, we shall be looking at education in post-pandemic era. So my talk, therefore, will be underpinned in the context of the general theme of this topic that have been chosen. So for a start, I think it will be instructive for us to dissect and refresh our minds on the basic definition of education. So I would like to share my screen, if you don't mind, so that if you can enable me share my screen, please. I would like to share my screen.
Yeah, sure, we can. No problem.
Yeah, so as he said, you have been disabled. So I would like to share my screen so that we look at just basic, very basic definition of education. So to enable us situate the topic that we are considering. Okay, just let me know once is done. But while that is going on, I want to use this medium to, again, because I've been tweeting about this, my social media handle and all that. I want to give kudos to the Nigerian youth on the ongoing End SARS protests. Finally, our youths, we have decided to take the destiny of our great nation in our hands. I congratulate all Nigerian youths for.
You can share now. I think you can share.
Yes, for taking our destiny in our hands, and I also want to commiserate with the with those who have lost dear ones, even at the protest. And I also want to appeal to our youth to be peaceful as they protest, as they carry on the protests.
Right.
Definitely, Nigeria will be great again.
Yeah,
that is just by the side. Yes, I'm just want to share this from. Let's see. Not got that yet. I think I'll just trying to get the file and really share with us some of my thoughts as far as education is concerned. Just give me some moment, please, Mr. Chidi. I'll get that file across. This topic is something that is dear from my heart. This education is my constituency, and I believe so much in the power of education and what education can do in the life of a nation. If you don't mind, if you can give me that that last video from Edison Edayi, just to buy me some time. If you can put that on the screen for me, I wouldn't mind.
Nigeria, arise. You have stayed long enough in waste and pity. It's time to arise. The voice of the Most High God is calling you out of the ocean of retrogression. Who would have believed our story in pitiable parts? That we were once endowed with so much to admiration of all, swimming in flowing wealth with scarce needs to meet. Life was so easy and sweet. Then we slept into life of reckless frivolities with no thought of the future yet unknown. Oh, Nigeria, Such was life of elegance, like a peacock in her splendor, fading so fast in the full glare of all, painfully. No attempt to salvage, no thanks to scavengers from across the Mediterranean Sea. They came with soft tune to help, but were fully armed to plunder, draining the breast milk of our sweet mother nation. She has been smuggled in her prime of beauty with connivance of her wayward seeds. They accepted to sell her treasures that make distant their home for a piece of jewel made from even their stripped lands. Shameless gluttons who rises to eat the bread of sorrows. Nigeria, never minding the status of beggars, only just to have one meal per time. They wrecked her beauty, meet her to dryness. Lord, is this truly Nigeria, looking shapeless as her ebony complex fast depletes? The contour lines masking her face, depicting many years of betrayal and stripped beauty. Oh, she was once a standard bearer of hope to many nations in her stead, now a dependent of succor from anywhere. Ah, arise, O great land. What a pity. A beauty so promising, raped in her glory and her dignity defied. Her children have become orphans to many nations she once ignored. They raced to the land of the Portuguese for dry green pastures. Her seeds now bear the emblem of beggars. In places she once held the stake, among her very own, many sold each other to gain fame as the world watched in mockery. Nigeria, this is not a story to tell the next generation. But when will your rising come? The golden nation of the tropical land. You were smuggled in the prime of your beauty, but the Lord of hosts will rescue you. Oh, mighty nation of the dark continent, who has covered your glory, the shining star that beats the clouds to make progress, the trigger set aforetime to fire her continent to excellence. Nigeria, you were once the house of refuge to all in needs, the land whose forest hills kisses the cloud in glory, the assorted food basket of the savannah. Your pastures satisfies the saga and hunger. Oh, adorning floras of the Sahel landscape, awake, O sleeping giant of the rainforests, the healing tree in the dying land that never decays. It's time to arise, Nigeria. Creations await your glory in rising. Nigeria, arise, for the healing of nations is in your seed of hope. Nigeria, arise, to fulfill heaven's order of restoration. Nigeria, arise, arise, arise. Happy independence.
Thank you. Let me just try and share the screen now. Yeah, got it. Thank you very much for rescuing me there. Yes, I'm sure you can see my screen now. So,
yeah,
like I was, yeah. But generally, my outline for this brief talk for this stream is we'll look at definition of education, the types of education, characteristics or examples of the various types of education, and then finally we'll look at the ingredients for education in a post-pandemic era. Just try to create some acronym of my own with EIPPE. Yeah, it's a new model. And then we'll look at some areas of focus. So what really is education? The basic definition from the Oxford Dictionary says it is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction at a school. It is an enlightening experience. And then the United Nations Sustainability Report 2020 defined education as, it said, education is that which enables upward socioeconomic mobility and is a key to escaping poverty. So these are just basic education, basic definition for education. But be that as it may, there are some worrying statistics which I want to share with us. And I got this from the United Nations Sustainability Report. So according to the United Nations, about 260 million children are still out of school. This is, we are talking of as at 2018. So this figure is nearly 1/5 of the global population in that age group. So this is, it's a massive figure. And then the same report also highlighted that more than half of all children and adolescents globally are not meeting the minimum proficiency standards in reading and mathematics. So these are really worrying statistics for us to consider. I must tell you, this is as at 2018. So this has not even got to do with the pandemic, COVID-19. COVID hasn't even started as at this time. So when we talk of education, people begin to wonder, what are the different types of education? I just want to briefly, because of time, show us, highlight some of the different types of education. Education can be formal, informal, and non-formal. So each of these types of education have their unique attributes, and there are examples. So if time will permit, I will just, give us a little snip into each of these different types of education. So as far as formal education is concerned, this is the type that most of us went through. It's usually education that takes place in the premises of a school, where we all learned basic academic or trade skills, quite common. It goes to post-secondary, college or university, polytechnic, and most times at the end of it, we are granted an academic degree. It happens under a certain set of rules and regulations. So what makes this kind of education really unique is the fact that it is given by who are very efficient and proficient in the act of instructions. And it's all usually an engaging process as well. One major characteristics I just want to highlight in this type of education is that it's got a chronological grading system. It has a syllabus and is subject-oriented. And the syllabus has to be covered within a specific time period. So examples of this type of education is learning takes place in the classroom. There is certificate, and the education is planned. Like I said, it's got different subjects. So I move to the second one, which is informal education. This is a very important kind of education. It is education where you are not studying in a school and you do not use any particular learning method. So in this type of education, there is a conscious effort for independent learning. It is not planned, and it is the type of education that really makes an individual very well grounded. It may be a parent teaching a child, even how to prepare even a meal or ride a bicycle. I remember my granddad, when I was preparing for this, I just remember this bit. I remember my granddad teaching me how to ride a bicycle when I was, I think around 12 or 13. And we used to like bend across the bicycle to learn how to ride. But we were falling and having injuries those days. But eventually we were still able to learn it. People can also get informal education by reading books, like we have today, visiting websites. I've known people who got informal education, and they even went as far as getting degrees. But one thing about this kind of education is that there's no curriculum required. And it could just be an experience that you learn living in your family or community, like I talked about my granddad just now. So it's more of experiential learning. Some of the characteristics of this type of education is that it has no walls or boundaries, no definite syllabus. It is not pre-planned, and it has no timetable like we have in the formal system of education. Like I said, you get this through daily experience and learning new things. It is a lifelong process. It just comes naturally. I must tell you that if somebody is educated formally and is not educated informally, that education is not complete. Certificates are not necessarily involved, and you can also get informal education even from the media, like I said, from family life experiences. So an example is when teaching our children, when you're teaching a child some basics such as numeric characters, literacy, even learning a language, like we teach our children how to speak our mother tongue and all that. So this is all part of informal education. Then lastly, the non-formal education. This is always very exciting. So this includes adult basic education. So there could be people who have missed education at an earlier age. They can go through non-formal education. This is a type of education that we impact it consciously and systematically. You don't have, somebody does not have to be in school to learn this. You can learn literacy and other basic skills and job skills. Like I said, it is non-formal. The timetable and syllabus can be adjustable depending on the ability of the person being educated. It has no age limit. Informal education is more or less always related to age. There's no regular exams. Diplomas and certificates and award are not essential. Although one downside of this kind of education is that, especially with these days where we do a lot of online learning, there could be a provision of fake certification in online courses. Example of non-formal education is community-based adult education courses. I remember growing up in Benin City, those days, we had a lot of adult education schools scattered around the place. So now, zipping into our team, which is education in the post-pandemic era, haven't developed some templates already. What really are the ingredients we will require in these times? I just want to highlight just two things. By April 2020, this year, about 1.6 billion children and youth were out of school. Like you know, many countries announced the temporary closure of schools. And as a result of this temporary closure, more than 91% of students worldwide missed out learning. They missed out. In the history of the world, never have there been a time when this happened, except during wars. And of course, you know, even if there's war taking place, in those countries where the war didn't get to, education will be happening. But for this pandemic, nearly 369 million children also were missing out on daily nutrition through school feeding. So we find out that there are a lot of damages done. I just want to, this clip I want to show is for, I'm going to play this clip, is for 1 minute and 50 seconds, after which I will be dwelling on the areas of focus, and then I will end my talk. So I want us to listen to this clip. Yeah, so I'll stop. I'll stop that there. So this is from the United Nations chief, that clip that we just seen. I will see the.
Can you hear me, Dr. Gons?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you? We have 5 more minutes. Is there any way you can?
Yes, I'm rounding up. I'm rounding up. I think I should be throwing the next 2 minutes even. Yeah, I.
All right.
I stick to time quite a lot. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So so as I was saying, the areas of focus for education in the post-pandemic era for me is, there are just about 3 items. One is access to technology, with the fact that the coming in on board of social distancing and effort being put together by governments in all countries for prevention of this disease. So students learning, virtual learning has come to stay. So it's one area we definitely have to move to. Then affordability. Countries like Nigeria, this one is key. Even where we move to virtual learning, I know for a country like Nigeria, people need to be able to afford the use of data to access these educational materials. Then, of course, the issue of online safety. So with the fact most parents will be a bit apprehensive with the fact that learning will not be going virtual. So we also have to put in place mechanisms to keep our children safe as they work online, because pop-ups will always come up when they learn. And then finally, some people may argue with me about this, is good food. In this pandemic era, with parents' income, job security problems, and economic lowdown. The incomes of most families are going down. So there have to be provisions, support system to support parents to provide for their children and wards, so that learning cannot take place when children are hungry. So in conclusion, I want to say that education is the key to human development. And an educated nation is a developed nation. And an educated nation is an enlightened nation. Once again, thank you all for listening. I wish us a very successful summit today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Agbon. Before I let you go, you gave us a statistics. You said nearly 369 million children who rely on school meals were missing out on daily nutrition.
Yes.
Does this figure include Nigerian children? Because our Minister of Humanitarian Affairs says she fed the children in their houses during lockdown. This figure, does it include Nigerian children? We need to be clear on that.
Yeah, definitely it includes Nigerian children. There's no doubt about that. It includes Nigerian children. Okay. But like you know, Nigeria, you know, this is not a political kind of discussion.
Exactly.
You know, we can always come up with we have this bag of tricks. We just pull things out.
It's in order. I just needed to...
yeah. So we are waiting for the judgment of God to fall on some people in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agbon.
I don't want to put on my activist hat this morning.
No, don't. Thank you so much. We're very grateful.
Thank you.
Questions will come in. I'll call you back to answer some of those questions.
No, I'm very much around here.
Yes. At this point, I want to bring on Dr. Vera James. And like I said, she's a leading global consultant. She's a principal consultant of Vera James GC Limited, a foremost educational consultancy organization focused on raising successful and excellent-driven individuals within the family, educational, national, and global system. She is a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, IMC, and Chartered Institute of Corporate Mentoring and Coaching, Nigeria. And she's also a member of several organizations, associations rather. So Dr. Vera James, you're welcome this morning as you run us through for the next 20 minutes. You're welcome, Dr. Vera James. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning, everybody.
You're welcome, Dr. Vera James. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, Prof. Sir. Thank you for opening this occasion with some wonderful thought-provoking statistics. When we hear statistics like that, we know that we are a far cry from the normal. You know, that's the truth. And we pray that we're able to interpret these statistics and make use of the information. I mean, for those who are in the aim of affairs, and we pray, we can only pray. All right, so thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Edison, for this opportunity, and for everyone on the call. Thank you so much for having me. And I'll just share a few things. And Prof has has done a lot on this call. So I'll just be jumping some things that he has already talked about that I'm supposed to talk about today. So that's why it's always good. Things like this, when you have your boss. when I saw him, I said, okay. So I'm not going to talk about so much about what education is. So I'll be talking today on the new pathway for children's education post-pandemic era. Like I said, I'll be jumping off some things because Prof has already handled those for us. All right. So sorry. Yes. So what is education? I have that here. I won't say so much. Prof has handled it, but with this picture, I want to explain something about education. Education, looking at the root word, educare, from it's two Latin words form the word education. It's unfortunate that I'm not sure. Let me not say that many of us are not educating our children as we should. I mean, that's when I'm on this call, I was asking the convener, who am I going to be speaking with? I didn't quite get it clear. So I had to I'll just be talking. So even if I say teacher, I understand that you are a teacher because you're a model of life. Even if I say parent, you're a parent. Even if I say the child, I mean, even myself, I'm still in school, so we're all learning. As the prof knows, I'm sure that he's been reading since forever. We are just coming up now, and then we have started to read. And we will read. When I was on my PhD program, I said, when I finish, I will rest. And I think the PhD was very small compared to what we have to do now. All right, so we're all learners. So let's just take what is important to us as we speak. Education has to do with nurturing the mind of children, building the mind, creating, it's much more than forcing things into the child's mind. It's everything like taking your hand and dip into the child and bring out what the child already has. And that's what we're supposed to be looking at in Nigerian education today. We need to understand the fact that our children must be nurtured. And why should they be nurtured? There are basic purposes of education. We have different domains of education. We have the affective, the psychomotor, and the cognitive. But unfortunately, many of us have stayed put on the cognitive aspect where, my child is intelligent, my child knows biology, my child knows physics, chemistry. And that is one of the reasons why we still have exam malpractice on the increase in this part of the world, because everybody is interested in my child scoring A's, my child having good grades. And that's where we think education ends. Education does not end there. God forbid us having a generation tomorrow where we have so many cerebral people without the heart. So we need to understand that if education must work in Nigeria, we must look beyond cognition. We must look beyond the fact that this person is cerebral, he is smart. If that's why you have a CEO today who has an organization who is very, very intellectually sound, but does not have his heart in the right place. Such a CEO is a disaster waiting to happen. That's the kind of person who we owe salaries, kind of person who will make a woman not go for a maternity leave, kind of person who will say you are ill, you are on admission, we will take some money off your salaries. So what kind of education are we looking at? We need to begin to learn to balance education. And that's the reason, that's the purpose for education, such that your child or you as a person, Nigeria is able to bring up children who beyond their mindset. Okay, recently I saw it wasn't recent, it was in 2018. World Economic Forum gave a statistic saying that automation is coming. It says in 2022, about 42% of humans will be needed in the machine would be needed to work. Then 58% would be humans. But it says in 2025, it will be the other way around. We need more computers will do more work than human beings. And this was a statistic that came up in 2018, not now where we already have the pandemic. So it looks to me like the prediction of these statistics is even too far. Maybe in another 1 year or 2 years, not even in 2025, we will find a situation where computers will take over jobs and roles. So what are we going to be doing in education? We need to bring up children who will have the kind of skill that a computer does not have. Because most things cerebral, the computer will do it, because computer is what? Garbage in, garbage out. But the computer is not emotional. The computer cannot be flexible. The computer is not creative. It is what you put in the computer that the computer brings out for you. So we need to move beyond academics, so to speak, and begin to build the soft skills of children, begin to build the skills that will help them triumph in life, all right? So I'll just quickly run through the how. How are we going to be doing these things? We need to teach our children culture. We need to teach our children value. We need to ensure that the values we have are in the right place, such that a Nigerian child should understand that you should not beat traffic lights. There is no need for a child to be in the classroom and be writing so well and passing social studies, passing government, passing citizenship, civic education, and that same child gets on the bus and or rather on the road, and is crossing without waiting for the light to say, pedestrian, you can move now. That's not application of knowledge. We should get to the point where our children will be able to apply whatever it is that we teach them. For example, I was having a conference last week, and I told my son, right, please help me set up this, arrange this place. And he was arranging, and I noticed he was doing something. It was trying to use his footsteps to give some kind of space during the arrangement. And I looked at him, I said, oh, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to apply my math skills to help in social distancing. For me, that was excellent. I thought, this is beyond a child learning length and breadth. What we learned when we were in primary school, we know that the circumference of a circle, the perimeter of a this, length times breadth times height, those are the academic things that many Nigerian education will give to children. But we're looking to the point where beyond that, our children are able to solve practical life problems. Very key, very important. All right, so I want to be talking briefly about the child. What can we do for the child? What can we do for adults? What can we do for yourself as a teacher? What can you do for yourself as a parent? Sorry, I had to move that too fast. Okay, self-learning. What is self-learning? Self-learning is a point where a child is able to take responsibility. Not just a child, even as adults, we take responsibility for our learning, and that is the future of education, where you understand that whatever I want to learn is relevant to me as an individual and is relevant to me to be able to solve problems. I tell teachers, because I'm into education consulting more, I tell teachers that if you're going to teach a child a concept, if you come to the classroom with the mindset that I have come to teach you, you're not going to achieve so much with that child. But if you come to the classroom with an understanding of the concept you want to teach as a teacher, you understand the concept so much to know that that concept is actually solving a life problem. You are able to communicate such to the children and say, hi guys, I'm coming to class now because I want to solve a problem. I do this several times while I was in the classroom and it works for me. What that does is that it makes the child see relevance in whatever it is that the teacher is bringing to him or her. So we must get to the point where we must understand that learning for you, my little child, learning for you, my son, learning for you, Nigerian children, is relevant to you, for yourself, by yourself. I know that there are some high-class Nigerians who just, they've made everything and they're like, children, just go to school. They beg their children, force their children, but we must get to the point where we let them understand that you're responsible for your learning, all right? This is something I always love to share with parents when I have to talk to parents or to individuals generally. Our children should always get that mindset that everything I'm doing is for myself, to better myself. Nobody has kept anything from me. So I want you to introduce your child to this person. This person on this screen. It says, meet the person responsible for your choices, for your grades, for your successes, for your words and your action and every other thing. Who is that person? You. When I saw this recently, I just loved it. I said, wow, this will be good for my Saturday presentation. So you want to put this somewhere in your own, you want to just take a picture, a screenshot and put it somewhere in your room, give it to your child, give it to every child you come across. It's unfortunate that we have stopped the community parenting in Nigeria, but I wish we can continue to do that. We need to let everybody know, even as adults, that whoever is the person who is responsible for everything that happens to us is us and not anybody else. All right, so I'll just quickly go over, I was talking about the how. So as a teacher, and I wrote here teacher molder. So let's not just say, oh, okay, she's talking to teachers alone. Every one of us here has said are teachers. How can we help our children to, how can we make the next level of the post-pandemic era education reliable, reasonable, useful? We need to teach our children to critically think. Critical thinking is the ability to think clearly, to think rationally about what you believe. So we cannot have children rising in post-pandemic era, and those children will be children who you tell everything. You must do this, you must do that. No, we must give our children an opportunity to explore. It's important, ordinarily, for time's sake, I might not be able to break down these different points, but just take one from this. When you want to create, when the next level for education is such that every child becomes a critical thinker who can question everything. One way you want to do this is you want to give the children the opportunity to think, to solve problems by themselves. I've learned this art as a teacher. I'll give an example, a teaching example as well, where a child comes and says, please, ma, help me open this bottle. And I say, okay, bring it. I open the bottle, I give to the child drinks water and the child goes to sit. The next day, oh, Mrs. James, please help me open this bottle. I do the same thing. The child stays with me for 9 months in my class, and I keep helping the child open the water bottle. And then maybe sometime I get tired and I'm like, oh, what kind of mother is this? Doesn't she know that this water bottle is too difficult for this child to open? Imagine. And then I just open it again. The level where we are at is where you will give that same water bottle to the child and allow the child, take time to allow the child open that bottle so that tomorrow that child will not come to you. Instead, that child will begin to solve problems of not being able to open bottle for other people around. I mean, it's important we help our children think critically, because that is the next phase of education. Beyond thinking critically, we also need to help our children communicate. We talked about soft skills earlier, where I said that very soon, because a child who cannot communicate, a child who does not have feelings, a child who is not creative would not have a job tomorrow, because computers will be willing to do that even cheaper than what the child would want to expect. So how do we help children communicate? Communication is beyond talking. When you talk, you must get a feedback. We all know that from undergraduate days. We've been taught that communication is never complete except there is a feedback. So it's very key, very important that we teach our children and we model communication. How do we do that? When a child is talking to you, you listen. I mean, unfortunately for every one of us now, the social media thing has killed most of us, and myself inclusive. Sometimes I pick my phone and I'm pressing my phone and my son is talking to me and I'm still pressing that phone. You're not teaching, let's begin to correct ourselves, because you're beginning to teach the children that communication does not require eye contact. It does, absolutely. Some children have lost opportunities of getting jobs because they were not looking at the interviewers. So eye contact is important. There are many things we need to, ordinarily, of course, we know taking communication can be a whole module altogether, but I just have to touch on that a bit. Another important one we want to look at is collaboration. I mean, that's king now. We all know if you're not collaborating now, I'm not sure that this program would have been able to hold successfully without collaborating with every speaker on this program and even every participant and the organizers. So it's important we understand that everybody must bring their different giftings in a team, in a group. So my advice for us as we move on is the ability to teach our children to collaborate peacefully, understanding the fact that collaboration does not necessarily mean we all agree, because we shouldn't even agree. We all should bring our different giftings, our different ideas, our different opinions, match it together, because the purpose really is for us to be able to achieve. So I would say that collaboration is more of allowing everybody bring in their giftings and their different thoughts. And the whole idea is at the end of the day, we must work together. So we may think differently, but we must work together. These are skills that we need to teach our children. If we want them to excel, we need to help our children understand that you are different from the other person, but you must work with the other person. I mean, it's very key, it's very important. And one thing I always advise, we must discourage groupthink. And one way we can discourage groupthink is when we do not make an assumption that one person is always right. I always tell my team members, I lead a team of over 100 leaders. And when we have meetings, I don't just want everybody to say okay and yes. Because the truth is, if you're leading a team, we as adults, and everybody is saying yes and yes and yes to what you say, two things are involved. You will never achieve, because they will not. They understand the fact that when they share their differing opinions and thoughts, you always will not agree. And so it's better they don't even say anything. At the end of the day, you will find out that when you goof, they will say, if we tell him, he will not listen to us. So we need to be able to teach our children the principles of collaboration. It's very important. It is very key. And then finally, creativity. Creativity, we can also link that up for, I think my time is almost up. So let me just continue. As we go. So parents, what's for us as parents? Everybody here is a parent. We must have knowledge. Knowledge is key. Ask questions. Oh, okay, everybody might get confused now after this call and say, so what is this new normal is a bit so tasking for me. What can I do to help my child? We're talking blended learning, we're talking online learning, we're talking this, we're talking that. How can I help my child? Ask questions, read, seek help. The internet is loaded with information. Of course, you need to be able to sieve. But you can get someone who you can call and say, okay, please, how am I going to go about it? Because I don't want to shock my child. If the school is exposing my child to 21st century learning, I don't want to shock my child with my own 19th century learning. So how can I thrive? So it's important that parents get knowledge, seek structure. By structure, I mean prepare a study time for your children. Prepare. Okay, I'll just say this. I was guilty of this until I began to work around it intentionally. During the pandemic, when children were still at home, my children, they're still learning from home now. What I used to do is sometimes I just hear my children playing, and in my mind, I will say, why is he playing? He has not done anything today. And the truth is that the child has done something. Because if the child had gone to school and come back on a normal day, we will feel that the children have done something today. But because they are learning from home with the new normal and the new situations that we have now, there's this thing about your head that, has my child really learned a lot today? So you must understand that put study time, put play time, put the times they have to do their house chores, and then sleep time. And sometimes the children need to also play. So it's important you balance these things out, all right? Talking about support. As parents, we must support our teachers, the children's teachers. Support, bring in your best. When a teacher is teaching your child, try to also learn the concept so that you're able to pass it on. If you don't have the mental capacity for that, look for someone who can help you do that. But you must show care. You must be interested in your child's learning. You must ensure that your child learns properly. Okay, we have security here, and I won't talk so much on security because Prof already talked about security, cyber security. Don't leave your children at home alone, or if you're going to leave them with trusted people. When you send them on errands, send them in good time. Don't send your children on errand when the day is dark. Be very careful, all right? Health is also very key. Eat well, sleep well, exercise. Ensure that your children go with the COVID-19 pandemic are compliant. Now, what about other education sectors? You need to be authentic. This, I don't know if we have any government official on this call or anyone who is linked to them. We need authentic leadership. You know, authentic leadership is the case where you have a sincere leader, and we don't have it in Nigeria. Thank God for the protest that is ongoing right now. And we hope that soon and very soon we will get there. But we must understand that we must be authentic. I'll give you a very quick one. Recently, my organization was contacted, I think it was last year, sometime around June last year. Someone contacted us from a state commission, a Ministry of Education, and said, oh, I think you guys are doing something great. Can you please do up a proposal so that we can present to the commissioner because they need this and that and that. I went with my team. We did a very wonderful, in my opinion, and you would agree it's a good one now when I tell you what it was, a proposal for blended learning. Now, there was no pandemic in view. There was nothing, but by our understanding, we understood that it has come a time where our children need to be exposed to blended learning. We need to flip the classroom. They need to learn when they're not in school. They need to learn everywhere and anywhere. They need to use technology because many of these government schools don't have all of this. So this was what we put together with steps on how we can achieve it. The purpose, the why, the how, and everything was clearly stated in this proposal. Guess what? We got a call. The call was, oh, this is so fine, it's so nice, but we're sorry we cannot continue with it. What was the reason? They said it wasn't tangible. Now, what does that mean? And the words that the special advisor or something said was, we cannot use this to score points. So we're talking about authentic leadership. You want to score points at the expense of the people you're leading. Now, assuming that state took on that project, about 8 months down the line, pandemic happened. They would have been, okay, the point that they said they were not going to score, they would have scored it over and over and over again. But you see, the mindset of our leaders need to change. And I wish and I hope that they will hear and they will adjust to understand the fact that, look at a proposal, decide what is in it for these children and not what is in it for us as individuals. And I know, let me not just talk too much on that, but it's important, you're authentic, Okay, blended learning is the way forward. Prof already talked about the use of technology, but I would say here again that technology is very key. Technology is very important. I completely agree. However, we should understand that technology cannot drive a curriculum. Technology cannot drive whatever it is that we want to do. It is what we want to do that will drive technology. So we must understand that the whole idea of technology, which is fantastic, which is great, which is good, but we must be able to have something so that we can drive it properly. So it's a wake-up call to every one of us on this call. It's a wake-up call to Nigerian education system that we must have something solid before we try to drive it with technology. I don't know if I still have time to explain one or two things, or
We expect it to round up in 2-3 minutes.
oh, okay, sorry
Yeah.
then. Okay,
Yeah.
so that'll be all. I'll just round off with this. Okay, I wanted to show this video, but we might not be able to do that. So let's just move on. Okay, all our children must be guided on all sets. I call it the mindset, the skill sets, the heart sets, and the health sets. That's the end. That's the long and short of everything we have been saying. We must ensure that our children are guided, that the mind of our child is in the right place. By that, I mean create confident children, psyched up children. I'll give you something I want you to try out. Close your eyes, maybe, or do it with your child. Close your eyes and think about positive things, great things, good things that you have achieved, things that you want to achieve, the successes you've had. When you close your eyes and you do that, and then you put your hand in front of you, and somebody wants to put your hand down like this, it will be tough. But if you close your eyes and you fill your mind with negative things that have happened to you, your mistakes, your wrongs, things that have not worked out for you, when you stretch out your hands and somebody wants to put your hand down, even with just a small touch, your hand goes down. What am I saying here? It's important that we help our children's mind, help them, psych your children up, encourage them, make them confident. Those are the kind of children who will excel tomorrow, because you're able to achieve things when you are confident of yourself as a person. Mindset, very key. Skill set is the next, which has to do with improving on your skills, improving on the use of whatever it is you're learning. It's important that, like I said earlier, cerebral is not a problem, it's not bad, but ensure that everything is working together. And that's why we say, learn by practice, learn by tutelage, and that's skill sets. Teach your children. And then heart set, let the heart of everybody be in the right place. And the foundation of that is love. Finally, health set, exercise, eat balanced meals, do things that bring energy to you, and you'll be fine. I'll just round up with this. The new pathway will be somewhat challenging, but it is not impossible to achieve. Though it's challenging, it's not impossible to achieve. Thank you for listening, and thank you for having me. And this is me, and these are my social media handles if you want to just follow our organization for whatever reasons. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Vera James. You've done justice to this, and indeed we'll follow all your social media handles to learn much more than you have said this morning. Thank you so much. You've been so much of a blessing this morning. We've learned so much how to build confidence in our kids, trust in our kids, and also believing in ourselves that we can achieve so much. And all the sets you have listed out, and then we'll look at that. Questions will come, and then we'll have you answer those questions as we move along. Now, at this point, I want to recognize that on the platform in the conference, Dr. Ben Musa is here, and Mrs. Naomi Waziri, she's also available. Thank you so much. You're welcome recognizing them. I'll read their profiles as we move along. Now, at this point, we want to hit a major nerve, the adaptation to global paradigm shift. I was saying earlier that so many things are shifting. Nigeria is beginning to also shift. And with us this morning is Dr. Martins Atonda. He's a wonderful, wonderful leader, and he's training leaders and potential leaders. He has a degree from the University of Ibadan, has an MSc in global leadership from the Fuller Theological Seminary, and then he has a PhD in missiology from the same institution in the United States of America. He's a man with a large heart. He's a man who has raised leaders. Currently, he's leading the Leadership Center in Abuja, raising leaders in the public and private sector to move the country forward. He's going to be talking to us about adaptation to global paradigm shift. The whole world has moved. I think only Nigeria has not moved, but I hear that we are moving. The youths are moving and everybody else. The pandemic has forced us to move. So at this point, I'll make way for Dr. Martins Atonda. He's here this evening. He's a father and a leader. You're welcome, sir, this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. It's a joy to be on this program annually.
You're welcome.
I think you need to do more than annual program.
Okay.
Yeah, because the information, the more persistent we spread the information and the more frequent, then people get to digest it.
Yeah.
But if it comes once in a while, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick.
Okay.
For people to do, they need to hear many, many times. And then that will help them to correlate what they hear with what they see in their experiences and in the community. And they can balance stuff together.
Wow.
I know that in previous meetings, some of the parliamentarians who attended, particularly from Sokoto, had asked for further discussion. And so I don't know how you ended up with those discussions. So I think some of those things you need to do a follow-up seminar on particular issues and questions so that conversation can go on them. So thank you again for asking me to be part of this.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Mrs. for the presentation on education, and that's interesting. And I want to encourage you not to be discouraged because the setup said they could not score points with some of your ideas. The role of the cabal and the role of the psychopath in leadership, that's something you must put into consideration. Give a percentage to cabal, give a percentage to psychopath, and then let your original core come out. If your original core is 50%, give them the remaining 50%. That's how we can progressively change things. But if we come up with 100% core, they will not take it. So they will throw everything out. At the end, nothing is moving. So it's give and take. That's been political now. That's the way to go. Because we're in a political season. We are not in an intellectual season. I tell you, people are not living by it. Look at all the presidents of the world. How many of them are educated? From Donald Trump to Buhari. We are not talking intellectualism. We are talking politics. That's the way we are going. Adaptation to global paradigm shift. I want to again thank the young and useful generation for organizing this. And as I said, please make it a little bit more frequent. The program can go on annually, but questions and issues raised from the platform should be followed up. You should have mini seminars to follow them up. And I greet all the participants on the floor of this program. And then, because this is holding in Sokoto, I want to acknowledge the Sultan, who is displaying leadership in this very challenging season of killings and bloodshed and kidnappings and coronavirus and scarcity of food, increased economic life for people. So we need to acknowledge people like that who is helping to put things together to make sure that the center continues to hold. I want to acknowledge also the governor. The governor of Sokoto State. You are a governor at a time when the whole environment is loaded with challenges. And we pray that God will just help you and make your governance a blessing to everyone. I acknowledge all the emirs, all the members of the House of Assembly that are making sure that policies are in place to keep the community together. Otherwise, we cannot be holding this meeting today. I want to acknowledge all the heads of professional bodies, whether medical or educational or lawyers or law or engineering, businesses, those who are heads of all the professional bodies. At the time we feel me to call out you one by one, we acknowledge all of you and we thank God for you. And I pray that the Almighty God, who is the creator of all of us and the creator of this world, will intervene in our season at the moment, because it's clear that we need God's intervention. The one who created the world, the one who created humanity that is living in the world. And humanity is interfacing against each other, shedding blood and killing. And people want to get land by every possible means, all those contentions. I pray that he will intervene in our world and intervene permanently, to bring respite so that we can make humanity can make further progress. Because once there is fighting and bloodshed and intimidation and farmers can't go to farm, you set humanity backwards. Food production is set backwards. People become more hungry. Savings they have made, they have to spend it, because otherwise they cannot. Then people become impoverished. So we need this intervention, and we pray that the intervention will come very quickly. Amen. Very quickly, for the purpose of definition, I want to say adaptation is adjusting to environmental conditions. Simple definition: adjustment to environmental conditions is a way by which modification happens to an organism so that the organism can continue to exist in its new environment or in the conditions that the environment brings. So we know that our environment has changed. Our environment has changed intellectually. Our environment has changed technologically. Look at us, we are using Zoom to make communication. Otherwise, we will be in a hall speaking with a microphone to the audience. So how we modify in order to continue to exist. If we don't modify, we don't continue to exist. The environment will work against us, and then there will be death. Paradigm. Paradigm is an example, a pattern. What is outstandingly clear that people can follow, a typical example, that's a paradigm. So we want to talk about what kind of paradigm will help us to continue to exist, that will help us to modify, change our life, change our mindset, change our operation. Otherwise, we cannot continue to survive in our environment, because our environment will no longer be able to bear us. You hear all the story about the climate change too. And shift. Shift is a necessity. Shift simply means to arrange, to change. To either you change the place, or you change the position, or you change the direction. So if we are going this way, and if the paradigm shift means that we have to change our direction. Otherwise, our posture. Otherwise, we discover that what we were doing before can no longer hold. Now, something critical in this subject is that this shift has to be global. This paradigm shift has to be global. That's the issue. Why must it be global? Why must it be global? Is Nigeria part of the global setting? If Nigeria is part of the global setting, then Nigeria needs to change. There must be a paradigm shift. We must adapt to a new paradigm shift. But if Nigeria doesn't see itself as part of the worldwide connection, then we call it a bluff. We don't need to change. We don't need to shift. So that's the question we must answer. We cannot assume. The leadership of Nigeria must show. University must show. The legal profession must show. Those in the economic sector must show. Banks must show. Financial institutions. Every institution, the church, every institution, religious body Every institution must show that they are part of the entire world. That is what will necessitate a paradigm shift. They will be compelled to shift. I'll give you an illustration. United Arab Emirates, Qatar, they realize that massive number of people go through their airport every day. So they set up a machinery whereby you step on a bridge. As you step on that bridge, you generate electricity for the country. So they connect the science of stepping on the bridge on just a walkway. When you step on it, you create friction, and that friction accumulated generates electricity for that country. So why are they doing that? Because they need electricity. They are in the desert. The place is hot. Most hours of the day is hot. They cannot survive without electricity. So they need to generate electricity. They don't have enough river, like River Niger, to do hydroelectricity for themselves. So they tap into other sources of electricity in order to be relevant. If they don't have electricity, nobody will patronize them. But who is patronizing Nigeria? Because we don't have electricity, nobody is patronizing us. So Nigeria must desire to be patronized. Then Nigeria will shift. If Nigeria doesn't want to be patronized, Nigeria will not shift. If Nigeria wants to continue to remain as a village, the truth is that educationally, Nigeria is a village compared to most countries of the world. Go into any institution all over the world, the educational institution, compared to that of Nigeria, you cannot match it. You cannot match it. What we are doing in Nigeria is a child's play. The number of books we read in a semester is just a child's play. It's like the number of books somebody is reading in a course somewhere else. So the issue is that the world is changing. If the world is changing, the question we must ask is that, is it changing for us in Nigeria? Before we start talking about adapting to a paradigm shift, to a global paradigm shift, we have to answer the question, is the world changing for us in Nigeria? If Nigeria is satisfied with living local life, then the world is not changing for us. If Nigeria is satisfied with living like a village, the world is not changing for us. Gone are the days when they say Nigeria is the giant of Africa. If Nigeria wants to be considered as a critical nation or country in the scheme of events in Africa, look at Nigeria. We went to Mali when there was contention there in their government. Our government didn't have a say. So that means nations are already pushing us aside. They're telling us, sit down. You are not that important anymore. Some of our neighboring nations who could not survive before, because if Nigeria closes our border, some of them have survived now because Nigeria closed our border, then plus coronavirus protocol and limitations, they have survived. Now they know that they don't need Nigeria for their survival anymore. So they can call the bluff of Nigeria. So if Nigeria does not see itself as a game player, then she doesn't need to change. But if Nigeria sees itself as a game player, then Nigeria will change. So let's come down to state. If institution, media institution, the media institution of Nigeria, look at our media institution. For example, all our broadcasts come from South Africa. Our satellite is installed through South Africa. Our network is through South Africa. If DSTV, where is it coming from? South Africa. What is coming from Nigeria? So I think it's presumptuous to just think of a paradigm shift. How do we adapt to a paradigm shift? Are we ready to shift? That's the question we should be asking. Are we ready to shift? If our media is still localized, if our media is still dependent on South Africa, when was South Africa under apartheid that we were donating money to them, singing for them, and helping them, where are we today? We have one big office. They say Nigeria Communications Commission. And we produce nothing. Lifestyle, leadership. Look at our leadership. Look at the judiciary. You just laugh. Look at the Senate. Look at the House of Reps. Whatever the executive said to them, they just rubber stamp it. So Nigeria is not, those indices clearly state that we are not ready for anything global. We are not ready for any global shift at all. I'm so sorry, but that's the analysis. So let me go counterwise. Assuming we are now ready for a global shift, we are ready for a paradigm shift. How do we adapt? I will speak on that. But as things are today, in the world of today, we are not ready. They were talking about sharing palliatives, and they cannot use BVN. They have BVN of everybody. You can use the and there was so much of scams. People were using it to scam other people and take over people's economy, people's finances. You don't need a long story to get to distribute money. You use the BVN and transfer money to anybody you want to give money to, and that solves the case. That solves the matter. If anybody needs anything, instead of going to schools, now they are probing them how they shared all of those food money. You want to go and give to them food. Don't they have parents? Don't their parents have bank accounts? You just send the money into the bank account for the children. They do things, and you ask yourself, are we living in a world that is global, or we are living in a village? So the world is dynamic, and old kingdoms have changed. United Kingdom, Holland, France, Switzerland, Norway, all of those kingdoms, they are changing very fast. Even all the Arab nations, look at their kingship. Look at their kingship. Now, the crown prince in Saudi Arabia is the one in charge, not his father. He's bringing new ideas, young man. So all kingdoms are changing. All technologies have been replaced. You have some phones now, people don't use them anymore. People use all kinds of latest phones now that has improved technology to do more things. So the world is not static. The world is dynamic. That is why there has to be a paradigm shift. I'll say that again. The world is not static. The world is dynamic. That is why there must be a paradigm shift. Two things we must note. We must find relevance. Otherwise, there will be no survival. So Nigeria and all the other institutions must find relevance. We must ask ourselves, are we relevant? In the scheme of things, nobody considers Nigeria. Nigeria is not brought to the show. Why? If any Nigerian wants to make a headway, he must leave Nigeria. He has to go and operate outside of Nigeria. Call all the names. If they don't go and operate outside of Nigeria, if they stay in Nigeria, they will not allow their star to shine. That's the kind of difficulty, because the environment itself is destructive, it's killing. From coal, the world has moved to petrol. From petrol to gas. Now we are moved to solar. People are generating all kinds, different sectors. They are finding relevance so that they can survive. They are finding relevance. So it's either we innovate or we die. Moribund stuff don't sell anymore in the market. Whatever is of the past and old generation, they don't sell anymore. You can't keep, see, your father or your grandfather's dresses. You can wear them on ceremonial days. You can't wear them every day. You can't, because why? It doesn't fit anymore. The world has moved. The world has moved beyond that phase. So change inevitably has happened. Therefore, there must be a paradigm shift. Therefore, there must be a paradigm shift. The quest is to make an assessment. That's our responsibility now. We have to make an assessment of ourselves. Now, that assessment will show us our profits and losses. Then we will be provoked for an adaptation. Until there is an assessment, we cannot be provoked to adapt to the paradigm shift. If we don't make an assessment, see, we continue to think we are doing good. You know, somebody says my father's farm is the biggest, until he can make an assessment and compare with somebody else's farm. So Nigeria must make assessment before Nigeria will be compelled to adapt. Organizations, churches, religious bodies, institutions, they have to make assessment. Then they will be provoked for adaptation. So to adapt, we have to evaluate. If we make the assessment will help us to evaluate our resources and our strength. Nigeria, they say our strength, we have a lot of youth population. That youth population, it's funny. Do you want to compare the youth population of Nigeria with the youth population of Europe? Educationally, intellectually, resource-wise? The kind of school they went to, have we gone to that kind of school? Most of our youth did expo to pass. Set exam before them, they cannot pass. They cheated to go to school. Is that what we want to boast on? Leave the economy in their hand, you'll be grossly disappointed. See the youth in Lagos, what are they doing? Go to Lagos. Lagos look like a rundown city. Oh, we have youth. Just number. Excuse me, number without quality. What is that? What is that? Go to Edo State now. Go and see the youth there. What is their quality? So see, we have to reevaluate our resources and strength. It's not just saying, oh, we have number. We have number. You know, in the last election, over 70 million registered voters. Over 70 million. Do you know the number of people that voted? Not up to 25 million. Less than 30 million people voted. Less than 30 million people voted. Where are they? Where are they? Where is the remaining 40 million? Where are they? They just sat in their houses. Where are the youths? How many youths voted? So people brag, say we have youth. It's not just youth. Somebody is asking question. Do Nigeria need as much universities as we have? Because some of the universities are like secondary schools. You go there, the quality of what they teach the students. Excuse me, when you have 100 students in a hall, how many of them can hear the teacher? Is that a strength? Is that a value? When I did my programs overseas, in some of the classes, you have 25 people. In my doctorate class, we were 10. So the lecturer can talk to each person one-on-one. He knows us. In Nigeria, you just have a bunch, a massive crowd, because we are using it to collect school fees and get economic benefits. Do we care? Ask the students, how many of them hear what the lecturer is saying? They don't hear. A student is sitting on the podium, on the floor to take notes. How much of that will they understand? Is backing the lecturer. So we must evaluate our resources and our strength. I apologize. Maybe this is not the kind of thing you're expecting to hear, but you have to do many more programs to challenge young people, to ask the young people, what value do you carry? What value? It's not just number. What is our value? What is our value? To adapt, the next thing we need to do is calculate our deficit, our waste material. I just talked about that. Massive people go through school and they don't pass. Then teachers give them expo. That is a deficit. That's a waste material. Old cars, old phones, old computers, plastic, the things that hurt the creation, debris in the ocean, debris in the waterways. One heavy rain will fall and there is flood. That's a deficit. We have to calculate that. These are our resources and strengths. So we must know areas of shortage. Those things are the indices that will strengthen us to adapt to the global change. Otherwise, if we don't put those things into consideration, you know what is going to happen. We will just discover that we are left out. In the scheme of things, we will not have any relevance. Why? Because we have deficits we cannot cope with. Number three, we need to get global information. If Nigeria is going to move us from being a village and become one of the game players, we need information. We cannot just be satisfied. Where is the freedom of press in Nigeria? As long as they continue to muscle people from speaking, free conversation. Excuse me, they say, Lai Mohammed, they are saying people should not talk. If you talk on social media or so, your pay also fine. You are killing the society. If people talk and what they say is not correct, your job is to respond with facts and figures. So the government doesn't have facts and figures, they shut people down. If what I say is not correct, prove it to me that it's not correct. That is what intellectual people do in our age of today. That's what communities do. That's what institutions do. That's what people do globally. You say things, you don't agree with it, present your own point. So we debate. It's not for you to now say, once I say something and you judge by your own judgment. You don't know my source of information. By your own judgment, you say I should pay 6 million naira because I said something you don't like. so we are not ready. We are not ready. Number 4. I'll move towards my closing now. So we have to discuss and evaluate the way forward. Discussing and evaluating the way forward using experts. We have to use experts. Experts are people who have gone through school, who have compared things, who have engaged facts, they have engaged results, examples, they have statistics to show, to prove. They put it on the table, we discuss it. Those are the things that will help adaptation. Government that does not want to continue to be in debt must engage in this reality. Nigeria is satisfied with just borrowing money. Why? Because they are not initiating anything. They are not initiating any plan. How many nations of the world are living on debt? And we are comfortable just living on debt. We are owing owing everybody, borrowing from anybody who can borrow from. Why? We tell our number. We have land for farming. We have resources. We have young people. We have agricultural setup that is strong. We have rice farms and all of this. And yet we are borrowing. Is it not ridiculous? Let me close by saying that you go to countries like Singapore, you go to countries like Qatar, you go to countries like United Arab Emirates. They have calculated their resources, they have calculated their deficit, and they decide they don't want to be a village. That's why most Nigerians now go on holidays in Dubai. Why? You get free visa. They collect your money. They put you in a hotel. You pay for the hotel. You eat the food. They make money out of us. Who is coming to Nigeria for holidays? Where will you go? Where will you go? Tourism. We have Calabar, we have all these beach, Port Harcourt, Lagos, we have Bar Beach, all these beaches. How much money are they generating from it? What is the government doing? So when you see a government who doesn't see, or a people or an institution who does not see itself as part of the global world, who sees itself as a village, that's what we are in Nigeria, obviously. Then you see that they will not bother about any paradigm shift. They will not bother about how to adapt. They will just be loafing around in one corner. Every time they are hungry, they go and beg. That's what we are doing. Every time we're hungry in Nigeria, we go and beg. Every time we have a project, we go and beg. Every time we beg, and nobody gives anything free. So they give you a loan. They say, take this loan, pay in 50 years. Take this loan, pay in 30 years. Take this loan. So your life is mortgaged. Thank you so much. I'll end my presentation here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Atanda. Before I let you go, sir, just one quick question. The present protests by the youth going on all over the country, what's your take on it? I know this is a political forum, but let me just take your thoughts on those protests, and then we'll...
Thank you so much. The protest is needful. Now, there are 3 ways to bring transformation in a community. Number 1 is political process.
Okay.
If that fails, you do protest. If protest fail, you go to war, you fight, you do riot.
Okay.
So we have failed in the political process. That's why we are protesting. Now, you can protest as long as the rules and regulations and the laws and the constitution don't change. You are wasting your time protesting. So this protest must gravitate into stage 1, political process.
Oh, okay.
So our young people must contest in the next election and vote young people as members of House of Reps, members of House of Assembly, Senate, governors, local government chairmen. That's the way to go. If you have men in politics, see, you don't need to protest. In the floor of the house, you just move. I want to move for end SARS now, because SARS has become destructive to the populace of Nigeria. Simple. Do you know what is going to happen? Other people will support you, and then it goes out as a bill. The bill goes into law. It is signed. That's the end of SARS. Period. So all this one, people are hungry on the street, working for hours. You end it in the parliament. So we either go for first level, or we are in the second. The second level is what we are doing now. So it's acceptable. What we don't want to gravitate into is the third level, because the third level is destructive. You start shedding blood, you start killing, you start destroying economy. So we are protesting now, which is good, but it should not end here. This protest should metamorphose into political process, because we are in a political system. We are not in a military junta. We are not in an oligarchy. We are in a political process. So because we are in a political process, the political process means that that's the channel to follow if you want to bring about any transformation. If you don't follow it, no transformation. We will just be stranded on the same point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Very, very grateful. Thank you. You shed a lot of light on that. Dr. Vera James and Dr. Agbones, I don't know if you're still close. We'll need to take a few questions before we move to the next phase. Dr. Agbones?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, Dr. Vera, thank you so much. From the things you said, I have 3 quick questions to ask. Number 1, in building children for tomorrow, there's already a gap. I know that's already trending in social media. You have the very private schools that are well equipped, have better teachers, and the children are growing there. And
Yeah.
you have the children of the poor. Can you hear me?